Now, for those of you who normally watch my channel, we don't really dabble into the Primarch talk that much, but today's video is different because it's all about Primarchs. It's all about 11th edition. You chaps keep asking me, what is the next Primarch coming back? And I think we have a big choice to pick from. So let's jump in. Let's look at the evidence, the rumors, and of course, let's come up with our own theories and everything like that. And let's talk Primarchs in 11th edition. So let's start, of course, with the hippo in the room. And I'm not talking about myself, you cheeky bastards. Let's talk about Perturabo. Because Games Workshop have been putting a bunch of teases out to the brand new end of campaign book called The Eye of Terror. It is going to feature the Iron Warriors. They've just shown off a brand new Iron Warrior HQ character, and they're also giving us a Iron Warrior upgrade sprue. There's a lot of people out there on the internet saying this means Perturabo is returning. And do you know what? You're right. You are right. Perturabo is returning. It's just not in this edition. 10th edition. I'm dying on this hill. I'm standing tall on this hill. There is going to be more Primarchs coming back, but those Primarchs that are going to be coming back are going to be dropping in 11th edition. And I do think Perturabo is the first of those Primarchs. Now, the reason why I personally think Perturabo is going to be one of the Primarchs returning in 11th edition is the evidence, is the narrative, it's the story that we've been given by Games Workshop already. Again, I've just explained the Iron Warriors are getting a bunch of stuff, and the Eye of Terror campaign book. We haven't got the main story of that yet, but I bet your bottom dollar there's going to be even bigger hints at Perturabo's inevitable return. On top of that, another character that got established in 9th edition, Valdor, has close connections not only to the Iron Warriors, but to Perturabo himself. The text that we've got with Valdor says he's worked closely with Perturabo, designing demon engines and stuff, weapons of like mass destruction and stuff like that. So Valdor's storyline can then intersect with Perturabo returning, and maybe they get a bunch of brand new weapons and start destroying systems in Chaos's name, and the Imperium has to get involved, and we get even more narrative threads and stories hopefully popping up from that. So yes, I personally believe that Perturabo is going to be one of the returning demonic Primarchs in 11th edition. I actually do believe at the end of 11th, so we're talking 2029, there's going to be another demonic Primarch returning as well, but we'll jump onto that towards the end of the video. But the question that you're probably going to ask is, who cares about traitor Primarchs, Valrak, okay? We want Loyalist Primarchs, we want more of them coming back. Well, I'm sure some people want Primarchs coming back. I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't want Primarchs coming back. That's another subject for another time. If you're pro Primarch, this is your video. If you're anti Primarch, then it's probably best if you leave now if you haven't already left the bloody video. But when it comes to Loyalist Primarchs, they're quite more... It's more tricky bringing them back than a traitor Primarch. Because a traitor Primarch comes back, it's like, roar, let's destroy some stuff, let's butcher some Imperium stuff, and that's what they do. When you bring a Loyalist back, you have to then interweave them into the current political statement where the Imperium is. Look at the Lion, look at Guilliman right now, okay? It is all about politics and how they fit into the political structures of the Imperium. Plus, we've had 2 Loyalist Primarchs back, and this, towards the end of this edition, is the only time one has now officially contacted the other one. The Lion has sent a message to Guilliman, so yes, they will meet in 11th, fingers crossed, hopefully, and if they do meet, I personally think that then opens the door for another Loyalist Primarch to return, because then you have the Primarchs actually talking to each other. There's no point in bringing Loyalist Primarchs back if they don't speak to each other. It's just stupid. It's just... the story doesn't make sense then, right? It really is just bad storytelling, personally, from my perspective. So yes, when the Lion and Guilliman eventually meet up, I will think then that they've got to bring another one back. But the big question is, who can they bring back then? Well, one of the big ones for me, and where the narrative is actually set during 11th edition, is Armageddon. Who was the Primarch who disappeared on Armageddon, fighting the beast all those millennia ago? Yes, Vulcan. It makes sense. Vulcan cannot die. Vulcan is a perpetual. If you've read the Siege of Terror series and the fights he gets into and stuff, the guy can't die. So for him to maybe died to the Beast in the Beast Arises series, which I don't think he did. Even if he did die, doesn't mean that he's dead. He's going to be coming back because, again, he is a perpetual. So Vulcan is still out there. And again, he went missing on Armageddon, or should we say Ullanor at the time, but Ullanor got renamed to Armageddon if you've been following the lore. I know, there's a lot of tricky things in this. So Vulcan potentially still could be an Armageddon, roaming the waste and stuff like that. This brand new narrative happens. You got Gazskull, the big green of war coming down on there, the civilian population, maybe getting butchered. Maybe it's time for Vulcan to step out of the shadows again and assist the Imperium. Maybe he changes his view on the Imperium when he sees Gilliman and the Line getting involved, trying to stabilize it and get him back on track. Again, that is one of the storylines which could make sense. I also think Jaghatai Khan could be a shoo-in as well, because one of the things that we saw from Games Workshop last year is that they were searching for writers to write not only about Armageddon, but to also write about the Dark City of the Dark Eldar, the Webway and stuff like that. And we all know who went into the Webway and never came out. The Webway, with its time and stuff, works differently to real time. So if Jaghatai Khan is in there, let's say he's been in there for like 25 minutes, it could be 10,000 years in real space, you know, so he can come out refreshed, brand new, like, hey, what the hell happened? I blinked and, you know, I went in there and I'm back out now. Again, it could make sense. I'm just trying to look at for story angles where potentially they could go to. I've been hearing rumors about a big Dark Eldar storyline and a refresh for 11th edition, so potentially that could be in the foundations of that, or just a brief mention. Maybe they'll mention like a laughing, you know, fast, you know, entity in the Webway with like thunderbolts on there or something like that, which could then lead into more theories, more talks and stuff of laying the foundations for more Loyalist Primarchs returning. You've got Corax. We know Corax is not dead. He's in the warp hunting Lorgar, but we'll talk about Lorgar and Corax later on. Rogal Dorn. Technically, he's not dead, right? Show me the body. I will die on this hill. All we've got is a hand. Technically, he was dead. Then they retconned that death because his entire body was encased in amber on the phalanx. Then they retconned it in the Sentinels of Terror book. If it was that 6th or 7th edition, I'm not too sure. And it's only his hand now. That's all that's there. So no body equals no death. What people don't understand is Primarchs make money. So most of the Primarchs endings are going to be like, did they really die? Didn't they really die? So it's always open for them to return when GW wants them to return to make, you know, buy some books. So I truly believe Dorn is out there. Where is Dorn? I do have a theory that Dorn's being held prisoner by none other than the Alpha Legion, Alfarius himself, or, you know, is it, I don't know, the other one? We don't know, right? Is it 3 heads to the Hydra? That's another theory. But yes, I think Dorn is still alive and potentially he could return as well. Now, if you really want to go completely down the rabbit hole, strap yourself in for this one. But what if it's not a Loyalist Primarch that returns next edition, but someone more powerful? Who could be more powerful than a Loyalist Primarch? Well, what about Valdor? This has been a big story point, a big talking point now for so many bloody years. I'm not going to go into the lore of it because there's books out there which will explain it a little bit more, but for those people who know, Valdor is technically still alive. And Valdor, if it turns out to be true, has been building an army that can actively combat chaos, an army that has Space Marines in it, that has Custodians in it, has a lot of other things in it, right? And it actually doesn't answer to the Imperium. It's its own entity. Valdor is doing Valdor things for what he sees, potentially, is helping the Emperor how the Emperor would want to be helped. So that could come back, and that could be technically a brand new faction. And I don't know, could the Imperium see that as a threat? Could Gilliman see that as a threat? That's a whole bloody different story, which I would love to lose my mind on. But yes, Valdor potentially could be one of those things. That's why Pandemonium, we're still waiting for that book, the delay of that. Maybe that's revolving around the Amazon show and stuff. Absolutely no idea. I'm just firing it all out. I'm getting into my theory slash foil mode at this point. But I think it could be kind of cool. So like I said at the start, I think Perturabo is going to be one of the first demonic Primarchs to return. I also think there's going to be another demonic Primarch returning in 11th edition as well, and I think this is towards the end of the edition. Perturabo potentially the first half of the edition, and the other demonic Primarch I'm thinking is Lorgar. The reason why I say Lorgar at the end, because we had this little discussion last night, and again, it makes sense to me, okay? I think 12th edition is going to be Space Marines versus Chaos Space Marines. If you look at the last 3 editions, 9th was Necrons, 10th Leviathan was Tyranids, the 11th edition is going to be Orcs. So that's 3 Xenos factions in the last 3 editions. I think they're going to go back to Chaos. And I don't think it's going to be generic Chaos. I think they're going to do something like they did with 8th edition, where it was Death Guard themed. I think 12th edition could be Wordbearer themed. And we know Ultramarines versus Wordbearers, that is a big matchup. They hate each other. You know, they see each other as just pure hatred and stuff like that. This could lead into that demonic Primarch returning, Lorgar returning to the setting, and you know, bringing the word of chaos. We know the Great Rift has ripped the galaxy in half. Maybe Lorgar sees more Loyalist Primarchs returning and sees that as a threat to chaos, and now is it's time to step out of the shadows, to step out of his meditation and lead his sons once again to bring as much chaos devastation to the galaxy as possible. And that kicks off the brand new edition. So inside that 12th edition box set, again, potentially you can have a lot of Wordbearer theme units, because one of the discussions that we've had on this channel is why Chaos is not getting the love that Space Marines have been getting, like Dark Angels, Blood Angels, well, I say Blood Angels, you know what I mean with Blood Angels, right? Space Wolves, the Ultramarines, right? These ranges have been getting a lot of character love, a lot of unit love, but Chaos hasn't been getting that. We've been getting some HQ stuff, but Chaos has literally just been left at the side of the road. So maybe this is where they're going now, and they start to give some love to war bands like the Word Bearers, like the Alpha Legion, like the Iron Warriors a little bit more, and it's building up to Chaos becoming that big bad threat that we all view it as. Again, that's what I'm going with. Is it going to happen? I have absolutely no idea, but I will say this right now. I have started to hear rumours that there's more Primarchs returning in 11th edition. It's just up to us now to decide, to theorize who those Primarchs could be. It's a moneymaker for Games Workshop. If you don't believe the story, okay, follow the money, because that's where Games Workshop likes to go, and Primarchs make an absolute buttload of cash. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. It's been fun. It's been emotional, this one, right? Primarchs on this channel? Never. If you got any thoughts, feedback, any theories yourself, post it down below. I'm have a nice little chin wag down there, as we always do. See ya. Have a great day, and bye-bye.